Let's make some cookies for Santa. These are Lebkuchen. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Welcome to Go Cuisine. This is Miss K. Okay, so these are German Christmas cookies, and there's a lot of sugar. We're going to start with some honey, 170 grams, which for me was all of this bottle, plus some of this crystallized stuff, but that's fine because we're putting this into a large saucepan because we're going to bring this to a boil in a moment with some molasses. I told you there's a lot of sugar in these cookies. And that's not enough sugar, so we're going to add some brown sugar. You can use light or dark brown sugar, and if you use cups, please pack it down. I'm weighing it out, so that's why you don't see it packed. And then we take this over to the stove, and over medium heat, we're going to stir it until that sugar's melted. We'll bring it to a boil. You don't have to stir it the whole time, just until your sugar melts. And it'll be about this consistency. Then you can stop stirring and just bring it to a boil. First, it'll start foaming up like this. And then you'll start to see those bubbles. Stop stirring once it's boiling, or don't, like me. Once it's completely boiling, please remove it from the heat, and you're going to cool it slightly. Add the zest of a lemon and a tablespoon of lemon juice. Make sure it's fresh lemon juice. You don't want to use the bottled stuff for this. It just won't be as good. Now the zest and the juice you can add right away without cooling it, but you definitely want to cool it slightly before we add in our next ingredient, which is an egg, because we don't want scrambled eggs. And mine is still a bit warm, so I like to keep it stirring while I add it in. While this isn't a guarantee that I won't scramble it, it just makes it a little less likely. Once you get all of the eggs stirred in, we're going to go in with some spices. You need cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, and cloves. And yes, that's a lot of cloves, but trust me, you need it. And then we're going to add a good pinch of salt. If you have a large grain salt like I do, you've got to stir a bit more to make sure it dissolves before adding in our candied peel. Or if you don't have a mixed peel, you can just use diced citron. We're going to add in some slivered toasted almonds. Toasted just has a better flavor. And then we'll add in our flour and our baking soda. Now use a large pan for this so you don't have to get out another bowl. I mean, you most certainly can, but I like to just do a one pot thing. And we're going to stir, stir, stir. You want to do this ahead of time because we're going to put this in the refrigerator and let it sit overnight, or at least 8 hours to let the flavors meld. But, you know, give yourself time. Now guys, I probably have 5 different Lebkuchen recipes because I love these things. I think they're amazing. I haven't made this one in several years, so I thought I'd get it out. It's one of the first ones I started to make. And I think the last couple of times I made it, I added in more of the citrus peel and more of the nuts than we have added here. But I'm following the recipe because I don't remember. When we put it in the refrigerator, you want a wide flat container because you're going to end up rolling this out later and it'll just make life easier. I also like to oil, butter, or spray the inside of my container because this stuff sticks to everything. I remember the first time I made it, I thought I didn't have to oil my pan because I had a Silpat. It stuck to the Silpat. It sticks to parchment paper. You want to oil or butter everything that this stuff touches. And if you don't use parchment paper on your pan, butter the pan really well. I'm using a spatula to get off as much as I can, and get it as flat as you can in the container. It's not going to be perfect, and that's fine. We're going to roll this out tomorrow. Well, night night, go into the refrigerator. So it's the next day, and we're preheating our oven to 350 Fahrenheit, 180 C. And we're going to take out about a fourth of this. You can see it is still very sticky. Liberally flour your work area. And then we're going to take out about a fourth of this and roll it out. Do not attempt to roll all of this out unless you're like Popeye and you got big strong arms. But you know, you do you. I'm doing a fourth because it's easier to handle. And like I said, lots of flour. You can dust off the excess later, but if you don't, it will be stuck to your work surface or your rolling pin. Trust me. Use a bench scraper to help you turn it and to pick it up. And this stuff is still sticky. We're aiming for about a 1/4 inch thickness here, but you can really roll and cut these however you like. You'll just have to adjust your cooking time. Now, as I told you in a previous video, my love for these came from working with exchange teachers from Germany who would bring these to me after the Christmas break. And then when those teachers were gone, I no longer had access to these, so I figured I better start making them. So I started looking up recipes online, and I've been doing so for years. And like I said, I probably have maybe 6 different recipes, and I alternate through the years. This was the one that I first made, and it's tasty, but it's not my favorite. Maybe I'll make some more for you in the future. See? Clean off your cutter. You can cut these with a bench scraper, with a pizza cutter, a knife, whatever works for you. And then we're going to put these on a greased piece of parchment paper. And yes, on my parchment paper, you do see little pink circles because I had previously used this piece of parchment paper to make macaron. And you can use your parchment paper 2 or 3 times in the oven unless you're making bread at like 500 degrees because it won't survive that. But if you're making bread or cookies at a lower temperature, you can certainly reuse it several times. Give me a minute to cut the rest of this out and we'll move on to the next step. You can see I'm cutting off the edges to make this a little cleaner and just throwing it back in. We can roll those back out with the next batch. Every now and then, use your bench scraper to clean your counter off because it gets really sticky and it gets hard to roll out the next part. So I ended up getting 3 trays. You want them spaced out about 1 inch apart. They don't grow much, but they do grow some, and you want to give them room so they don't touch. Or you get to cut them again. We'll get these last few cut, get them in the oven, and we will make our glaze. Night, night, bake well. You want to bake these until they're slightly puffy, and when you touch them, it doesn't leave a dent. Mine took about 15 minutes. Yours may be done faster. To make the glaze, we don't have enough sugar, so we're going in with another cup of sugar, a little bit of water, and making a syrup. Bring this to a boil. Remember, stop stirring once it starts boiling. And we want to go to a softball stage. That's 234 Fahrenheit. Use a candy thermometer. It'll make your life easier. And then, strangely, we're going to put some powdered sugar in this. Because again, we don't have enough sugar. These are for Santa, don't worry. He can handle it. Now this is going to crystallize and you're going to end up adding a little bit more water later. But It works, I promise. Stir, 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 and a whisk is probably better here. Now you'll see I have my spray bottle. You want to add enough water so that this becomes a spreadable consistency. And you will see in a moment that I didn't quite add enough water at first because my first batch of cookies has a very thick layer of frosting. You want to paint this on with the pastry brush while they're still warm because it kind of sinks in and it makes a lovely glaze. Okay, ignore this first batch that they were not pretty. See? Didn't add enough water. Gloppy. Gross. Here they are finished. And like I said, these get better with age. I promise. Okay, I let them dry before I put them in a closed container. The original recipe says you can store this with a slice of apple or orange while you age it. I've never done that, but they do get better in a closed container after a couple of days. The flavors get more mild, they blend together better, and they're just tastier. If they get stuck, use a spatula to help you scrape them up. And if they stick together, just pull them or cut them apart. Okay, I know this batch is ugly. Forgive me. I haven't made these in a few years, but I promise they're still tasty. All right, so I've waited, and I got my cookies and a cup of coffee. And you can see these are very soft. These are cookies that get better with age. So, I mean, you can make these in advance. They get better. I kind of rolled mine thin. You might want to roll them a little thicker. They're still very soft. Next time, I would put more nuts in this. A third cup isn't enough. I would probably double that. Yeah, so, I mean, the orange flavor's there, the citron, and the lemon. Yum. Mixed pill is definitely the way to go. And I hope you guys make these cookies. Let me know if you do. Let me know in the comments, what are your favorite Christmas cookies? And maybe we'll make them. Au revoir and bon appetit. They're addicting. I can't stop. Danger! Leave some for Santa. Someone's going to be on the naughty list. Bon appetit. Check out this next video. Au revoir.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.